All right, let's go. So, day number 47, just a few days left. As you can see, yesterday, day number 46. Quite a few views actually. 27. That's a big win actually, because it's not like I'm preparing all of these videos. They are not scripted. I'm not trying to keep your eyes attention on it for a very long time. So, appreciate it if you stay around. And today, except the fact that we'll show the ads manager as always and show you how the ads are doing. So as you might know, in this series I'm running paid ads and I'm trying to target business owners that have a Shopify store and basically in the eCom industry. So what I want to talk about today, and if you hear my voice a little down, is just because it's so cold outside that I think I caught a cold, and actually my right eye here, so the left side, I think, how you see it, is actually not in the best of conditions, meaning that I do think I have an allergy or something, which doesn't happen often. But when it's minus 3 degrees, so actually as you can see here, minus 3 degrees where I am right now, and snowing, yeah, it's not the best of weathers. That's why ideally you do over time move where you want to live. And right now I would rather prefer being in a warmer place like Spain. So with that being said, let's come to the main subject of today's video, and that is that ecom is not easy and it's actually hard. And let me tell you why. Because I am in ecom, so I'm helping ecom brands actually be profitable, have success and so on, and I've worked with dozens of brands along the years. Unfortunately, that's one downside. You don't get to work with many more than maybe 1, 2, 3 years max or so. It depends, of course, on the client and so on. But in most cases, the reason is that it's a business that changes over time. For example, I've been working in 2024 with the business, and I've doubled their business from 2023, when they were not even making profit, to 2024, their best year ever. And in 2025, will definitely make more sales. But the thing is that right now they also have higher costs. So my fee is the same. Like, I don't have necessarily a higher cost. I actually have more or less the same performance, meaning that I'm trying to hit similar numbers. However, because there is a higher cost for the business, because if I'm not mistaken, they hired around 2 new people this year, and now the sales need to be higher at around the same efficiency level. So that's actually harder for me to do, because I can't just get new buyers all the time with, let's say, similar ads. I mean, I'm able to help with new creatives and so on, but it's still harder if you don't have other factors that are also helping you, such as, let's say, the economy, and right now it's not necessarily helping a lot. Then you also have a growing market. Fortunately, in most cases, the market is always growing, because you have younger people who just have more disposable income, who become older, and then they start buying more shit online, just like I'm doing sometimes. So it's not necessarily that hard from that point of view, but you also compete with more people. So it's not like you're the only one in the market. So you're always you need to get better to some extent. And at the same time, it does come to you do come to a moment, and right now I'm thinking of how to actually frame this so it makes total sense. It does come a moment when you kind of reach a new standard, right? And then you expect to grow beyond that standard, right? So for example, it's just like when you, or if you become a millionaire, then $1 million wouldn't really seem that much, right? And you would think of 2 million, 3 million, and so on. But then for almost everyone, like 80% of the population of the world, maybe even more, hitting that 1 million would seem like a high achievement, right? And that's the thing with entropy. When you get used to higher numbers and so on, then you even don't appreciate as much what you had before, or even what you have now, right? Because, for example, if I look around, I basically have everything that I would need for a decent life. However, we always focus on the things that we don't have, right? Because that's how you actually push yourself, that's how you grow. And that's actually even harder with some people because, for example, I'm someone who is grateful. So at any point, I can say that I'm ungrateful just because I know that at this point in life, I do have a lot and I'm grateful for that, meaning that I could have been in a worse place. But because there was enough consistency, and of course it was part of what I've been doing, but also, let's say, some amount of luck, right? Because, for example, if you are born without a hand or something like that, right? Just put it into perspective. You are probably always in a much better place that you could be. For example, even if you're born in, I don't know, India, right? Maybe not the best place of all. But you can just get out of there, you know. Like even myself right now, I'm looking at property in Spain because over time that's where I would want to live, knowing about the affordability, about the weather that I like, because at this point just seeing that 2 or 3 months of the year are snowy here in Eastern Europe, I pretty much know that this is not what I want. And 2-3 months actually matter, right? It's 40% of a year. And think of it like this: do you actually want to live 20 or 40% of an entire year somewhere where you don't really enjoy it, especially when you have control over that? So these are questions that we can ask ourselves, because the more clarity we have, the easier it is for us to just take better decisions. But coming back to eCom is definitely not easy, and I've given a few reasons here why. But beyond that, just the margins are not that high, meaning that with an agency, with info, you make 90-80% plus in most cases, maybe 50% plus, right, in terms of net profit. However, with eCom, it's almost never 50%, especially at a higher scale. It is a sexier business. It is cool to say that you actually sell this product or that product, right? Because it's actually physical, and people do enjoy physical products. Just like Apple, it's the biggest, or it was the biggest market cap company for a reason, because people actually hold that phone. It's a status symbol, and it's the same with clothes, jewelry, and so on. I mean, look at jewelry, such a high margin business and a high value business. Look at what's most popular in Europe. It's the car brands, the luxury brands, which honestly, it's probably to some extent good, but also not as good. Why? Because, for example, let's be honest, you chase for your entire life something that is just material. I mean, better to actually chase better friendships or create better bonds. You know, there are so many other things that are much more helpful than just buying a car and saying, all right, I have this car, I'm happy, and so on. With property, it's a different thing, of course, because you actually live in it. And with a car, yeah, some could say that you live in it, but let's be real, like just for being around, you know, driving. I mean, maybe if that's your cup of tea, but still, property is also increasing in value. So it depends how you think about it. But if you think in terms of also assets and liabilities, then property is definitely better. But not to get too much into that, let's look at the ad account. Today is Sunday, so a lower volume day, and I've also lowered the spend just because it's not the best time to have conversations right now. I do have a few leads in the pipeline, so don't want to get too distracted. So with all of that being said, let's look at the ad account. All right, so now that we're back in the ad account, let's look at yesterday. Yesterday we did spend more, basically on, actually no, we just spent on the ad set with the creatives that are sent into the website, and actually a little bit on the IG combo, but the total was $14. Let me actually get this down because you don't see, right? $14. You can see it here. So that's the amount spent yesterday, not a lot. And how many clicks did we get? We actually got 7 clicks, which is pretty decent, to be honest, with this amount of spend for possibly qualified traffic. So if we look at today, this is really interesting. The cost per click has gone down significantly. So 1% click-through rate, that's good. And keep in mind that this is actually sending to the website. So in most cases, it will be actually more expensive to send. Let's look at it real quick. It's more expensive to send to a website where someone actually has to book a free strategy call, and then they also have to fill all of this, right? So it is an additional step, but I would rather have people who see the website, maybe are not interested right now, but just getting that awareness for the agency right now, and maybe in the future they will want to work together and so on. So that's pretty much it right now, all about visibility. Yesterday's topic was actually showing up, and basically this is more or less what the ads are also doing, just getting more visibility for yourself. So with that being said, let's switch the camera again. All right, so now we're back for the final 1 or 2 minutes here. So as you can see, I'm lower energy just because of the weather, honestly. It's just so cold, and I still walked for around 1 hour. As always, I actually went to the pharmacy to buy some basically, I don't even know how it's called, but it's some watery thing that you put in your eyes, some drops, and it's for allergies. I just asked what's best for allergies right there and there, and yeah, it's better than nothing. That's the thing. We were talking yesterday about supplements actually, and some supplements aren't helpful, but you still take them because maybe they have an effect, and if they don't, maybe it's just the placebo effect that actually helps you mentally. So whatever works for you, better to actually try it, especially if it's a low cost. It's just like with investing. If you can make multiple investments and at a lower risk, but the upside is higher, then why would you not, right? And coming back to eCom and why it's hard, well, like I said, lower margins, performance up and down every day, more or less. You don't have stability, but fortunately, platforms like Meta, Google, others as well, such as Snapchat, TikTok, tertiary, I would say, in some cases, and in many cases actually, do give you enough sales so that when you look at the month, you actually see that the performance has been decent. And of course, this also depends on you and how much you actually track that, because personally I track performance daily, and of course if you track it daily versus skipping the weekend, for example, because this is what many agencies actually do, because they have employees who of course don't really care as much and so on about the clients, and eventually that's how you get bad work and a bad rep. And if you pay attention more, right, you will just notice patterns over time, and that's the goal. If you know that on the weekends you actually make more sales, then you would actually tend to push, if you know that's the case, right? For example, I do have some clients where I actually push during the weekend because I know they will have better performance, and of course that's how we win. So with that being said, I'm not keeping this way longer just because I think I was also lower energy than usual, so we'll have more energy in the next few months. And with that being said, pretty much that's it for today, and until next time, wishing you the best and peace out.